So in front of me I have a Vax Blade 32V and it's got a faulty power switch. This is the third one I've bought with a faulty power switch, and I'm getting pretty adept at fixing them. So I thought I'd make a little instructional video because it's obviously a common fault. They're quite a good machine other than the fact that the power switch is obviously a piece of crap. So here's one I replaced earlier, and it's just this little switch on a circuit board, and despite the fact that it makes a nice clicky noise, the circuit is not completed, so then the machine doesn't start. And as you can see, it's a very simple circuit. Literally there's two pins, and when you press the button the pins should be shorted together. In this case they are not, which means that the machine will either not start, or in the case of my other one it wouldn't stop, so I had to actually run the battery flat for it to stop. So I set about pulling it apart, but first you'll need some things. So I imagine you can probably buy a little replacement switch module to solder onto this board. What you cannot buy, because Vax don't sell any parts for this machine, you can't even buy a battery. And if you ring them up and request parts, they will say, I'm sorry, but unless your machine is under warranty, we recommend you throw it away and buy another one. So I'm not going to be daunted by that. So because I don't really fancy replacing that, what I've done in the past is I've taken one of these. So this comes as part of this little kit. This is a breadboard kit for a Raspberry Pi, and it comes with some jumper leads, which are male on one end and female on the other. And so I've taken two of these and this little PCB switch, and all I'm going to do is, so when you press the button it completes the circuit between these two pins, and I'm going to snap these two pins off because we don't need a double throw, we just need a single throw, and then I'm going to attach it to these, and then I'm going to install that in that, and you'll see how shortly. So there's my little switch. I've just pushed those jumper pins onto the ends of the switch, and now I need to set about removing this little top cover off here. You don't need to remove the rest of the enclosure off the vacuum cleaner. You just need to remove this top cover. It's tricky though. It seems to be either glued in place or strongly held. I'm going to put the camera on pause and I'll show you when I've started removing it how I've done it. So cosmetically I don't really care how this thing looks, so I'm just using the end of a screwdriver bit and I'm just poking it down inside here. Put that on pause for a sec and I'll try some further. Sorry, I should have a tripod for this and I don't. So yeah, it's quite tricky, but I've managed to get this little end up here, if you can see. Like there's a gap in there. And if I just run the screwdriver along here, it will eventually come out. It's just held in by some fairly serious clips. I'm going to leave that on the edge there and see if I can do this. Rest assured there are no screws in this. It's just clips. They're just complicated to get out. I think it's actually glued as well, but once you get it off, there you go. See, it just popped off. Once you get it off, there you can see the little switch, the same as this one. And a little trick here. I'll go and put this in here. I'm hoping this will just start. Look at that. So literally this is the culprit. It's this one little switch module here. And so there's one little screw in the end there. And I'm going to set about taking that out, and I'm going to cheat a bit because I've got my little cordless drill here, so I'm just going to whiz that out, and then you can pull this up. Just going to pop that off. So we've got this little end here. Going to take my little switch that I prepared earlier, pop that in, and then wow, it starts. So all we need to do now is to shove. Oops, you see it start. It's now starting quite easily, too easily in fact. So what I am going to do is I'm going to remove excuse me, remove these wires, and I'm going to put that, oh okay, the other thing you need to do is you need to take this plastic switch module out of here, and you have to be a bit brutal with it. Just lever it up and it will come out. That's surplus to requirements. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fit these wires through the little hole there, down inside that, and then you've got to kind of squeeze them together to make them fit. That sits snugly in there, and then I get a piece of duct tape and stick it over that, and it makes it like a little membrane for the switch, and it will leave the switch in the end there, and yeah, it doesn't look pretty, but it still works. So it gives you a nice little switching contact surface there. But you can see I've nipped the end off the other side of that switch there because that's surplus to requirements, and you've got these little wires hanging out the bottom, and then that goes, connects in there like that, and then we just have to feed that down inside enough so that there's no spare cable when you put the Hoover back together. Vacuum. Hoover's a brand, and obviously it's probably better quality than Vax, so let's not cast aspersions on Hoover right now, but that's what we call vacuums. Often in the UK we call them Hoovers, so forgive me if I'm quoting brands when actually I'm really just talking about a Hoover, a vacuum. And then I'm just going to whack this back on, and voila! And you can see that that's gone on nice and smooth. Oh yeah, there's a few scratches there where I've done that, and you might want to use a plastic tool so you don't do that, but I'm not really that concerned about cosmetics. That's a done deal. Now all I'm going to do is put a little bit of duct tape over that, and there you go. I'd love to say good as new, but it's as good as working, and that's the main thing for me. Take care.